So this old lady, Cassie, she is obsessed with the idea that the island is out to get her and her entire family line. She's the last surviving member. I'm sure she's probably not the only one that can say that here, but she's definitely focused on pushing back against the island, of course, with our help. She's not going to get up out of her chair to go do it. She wants to send us off to go start killing nasties. We'll go see if we can't exact some vengeance for her. We're supposed to go hunt down some ghouls or something. That's cool. Gives us something to do. What I was thinking we would do is finish up whatever side missions we can for the people here at the Hull, and then eventually follow the old guy to, I guess, Acadia. We still have yet to go find Kasumi. Once again, there's a missing child, and the last thing we get around to doing is going and actually looking for that missing child. Do we see a pattern here in Fallout 4? I'm just saying. Legendary Pharaoh. Lots of legendaries. Nice. Very cool. Okay. How about just missing completely? Someone had mentioned on another video that my sneak damage was kind of low. And I'd honestly not really paid attention. I guess wrongfully assumed that, oh cool, leather piece. Don't know if I can use that, but we're at least headed in the right direction. But, I had assumed that, well, you know, the game's going to work correctly if you pick a perk or pick something that, you know, it's going to do what it says it's going to do type of thing. Apparently, getting Deacon's perk in the wrong order, and I don't know what order that might be. If I knew what mistake I'd made, I wouldn't have made it. Maybe it's getting Deacon's perk last, after getting all the other ranks of Mr. Sandman, which increases your sneak damage. Well, somewhere along the line, it basically stole a rank from me. It went in reverse. In fact, it might have removed what it was supposed to actually add, or something like that. So that might be the issue. So I think my sneak damage is stuck at like 3.9 or 4% or something. And then with Deacon's little bonus that he gives you, it bumped up to like 4.4, 4.5, something like that. And it should be around, I don't know, somewhere between the 5 and 6 range. I have everything maxed. I have Deacon's perk, I have Mr. Sandman, I have the ninja perks and all that stuff. And anyway, somehow Deacon's perk glitches and causes it to... Anyway, being on a console, not being able to use a PC, of course I can't really go in and do anything about that. And I can't go respec. Probably could if I could get all my points back and then reassign them. That might fix it. I wouldn't doubt it, but whatever. It is what it is. So I've lost, essentially, a multiplier on my sneak attack. And it still seems pretty strong to me. So, you know, as OCD as I am about wanting to maximize some of that stuff, I'm not going to worry too much about it. I guess maybe I'm not so OCD as I thought. Yeah, I'll just roll with it. On my next character, I might hold off on Mr. Sandman. Go ahead and get Deacon earlier in the game. Run around with him a little bit. Get his perk, companion perk if I want it, and then oh, they dodge like the ghouls do. That's kind of cool, actually. The way they move at you. They have some... Now, there's a Deathclaw hand. What is it with the Deathclaw parts on these Gulpers? They must be the aquatic version of a Deathclaw or something. I don't know. Glad they're not as tanky as a Deathclaw is. Anyway, in a future character, I may test that a little bit and hold off on Mr. Sandman until after getting Deacon's perk. Then go ahead and throw some ranks in there and go see if I can't... get my multiplier up the way it's supposed to be. Yeah, the difference between 4 times and 5 or 6 times is significant. Sure enough. That's roughly 20 to 30% of your sneak damage, you know. Okay, so I think this is where Cassie sent us. Apparently these ghouls killed, who was it? Her uncle or something? I don't know. Anyway, from what I gather, she's going to basically send us to kill nasties that were responsible for killing her loved ones. And of course, she blames the island itself, as if the island is an evil entity out to get her. And for all I know, maybe it is. Maybe it actually is. This does remind me a little bit of Sunshine Tidings Co-op. The outhouse here in the buildings are basically identical to the materials that you get to work with in your workshop that you can put in some of your settlements now. I don't know that I'd use these barn buildings, but I might do a whole settlement like this. The old ramshackle post-nuclear barn thing going. That's an idea. This really only took a minute. Seems like a shame to just run back to camp and turn this in right now. Go explore something else. Oh, nice. Different kinds of beds. Wonder if you ever actually get the ability to make these. On the go, you know, set up a tent, carry a tent in your backpack, maybe let it weigh something significant, like 5 or 10 units of weight. Something you can carry with you, but set up here and there, at least to get some emergency rest. That would be cool. They had a bedroll in New Vegas, if I remember. I didn't much worry about it. Finding a place to sleep wasn't such a chore in New Vegas, because I think the internal clock wasn't near as aggressive in making you sleep. Like here, it's explore for 10 minutes and then sleep, eat and drink, medicate yourself, eat and drink some more, sleep some more, because if you take a nap, you get tired, and it can make you sick and tired type of thing. And that cycle of consuming, eating, sleeping can sometimes take up as much, if not more time than you actually spend playing the game and exploring. In survival mode, it's, we had a big rant about it on stream. Playing one night, because it was, I mean, literally it was like, oh look, I'm tired, let me sleep. Oh look, sleeping made me tired. Oh look, I used this antibiotic. Okay, so I had to drink something because it made me thirsty, which... I was still hungry, so I ate, which made me sick again. So this type of thing. And it was just this, wow. And I felt like I was just eating, slurping, munching, smacking, sleeping, snoozing. And all it was doing was causing the very problem that it was supposed to solve. Each time. We have ghouls. Plenty of ghouls on this island. Oh, shit. Berserker's pole hook. Okay. I can do without that, to be honest. Kind of hoping that the respawn rate is as low here as it is back in the Commonwealth. That is the #1 improvement with new survival mode of the downsides, which in some ways outweigh the upside. I'll just put it that way. I will say that one good thing is the lower respawn rate of enemies. I had a big problem, and I've mentioned this before, of going through an area and clearing it and feeling I've done nothing, because sometimes before you even leave that area, enemies might already be back. I've had that happen with raiders, where they literally respawn before I even got to leave. Or like, clear out an area, go in a building for a second, look through a crate, come back out, and they're all right there again. That type of stuff going on. And that was, if it's supposed to be an RPG, there's a certain amount of immersion that I like in a game, where it draws me in, and I'm in character, and I'm playing, my hero, and we're doing our thing. And if I get pulled out of that with stuff that just doesn't make sense, every time I have to in an RPG do a mental workaround to explain away something to make it more acceptable, so that the game doesn't feel so unrealistic or whatever, that it doesn't break the immersion. The more I have to do that, the more of a chore that is. That's usually where I rank or rate the job that they've done in putting their RPG together as a whole. I would say one of the ultimate games that I've been immersed in my experience was Oblivion and Fallout 3. I could get immersed in those games. I was lost for hours, lose track of time, lose track of the fact that I haven't even eaten all day. I'm just playing, you know, and having a good time with it. And, you know, as gamers, I guess, hope some of you can relate that that's the zone that you want a game to put you in. That's what you're paying for. That's what you're looking for. And every once in a while, we come across a treasure of a game that gives that to us. Mass Effect did that to me with, you know, all the titles that we've covered on the channel, you know, covering all the ones that have had that effect. There's been some things that have pulled me, that it seems like they almost intentionally pull me out of it in Fallout rather than draw me in. And I mean, I've got to assume that these guys know what they're doing, so I almost want to say, well, why would you do that on purpose, you know? Why would you take out the role-playing elements? And, you know, the action elements of Fallout 4 are amazing in some ways. I mean, it's I think one of the viewers, Justin, he said it best, is basically if you were to judge this as an action game and amongst other action games, it'd be one of the best ones. And I agree with that, but as far as a role-playing, it leaves a lot to be desired in a lot of ways. But anyway, with all that said, there are some things with survival mode. Not so much the eating and drinking. I know they tried to make an issue of that. I think they went over the top with it. And I think it really all has to do with the timer in the background. Is that the day-night cycles are so quick, or they seem so quick in gameplay, that the rate in which you become fatigued and become hungry and so on and so forth is so fast, and the amount of time it takes you to navigate through your menus to, you know, eat things. Like, if you're thirsty, say if you're really, really dehydrated and you need to go drink, you may have to drink, say, from a water source or from your purified water or something in your inventory 4 or 5 times to become unthirsty. You can't just drink to become unthirsty. You have to drink each thing individually, and that time eventually adds up. They had an issue with this in Dragon Age Inquisition. The amount of time it took you to farm an elf root, for example, to literally go through the animation of bending over. Oh shit. No. Don't kill me. Don't one-shot me, please. Legendary rotting feral ghoul baddie popping up out of bathrooms and stuff. Yeah, it's just, there you go. Anyway, the amount of time it took the animation, they actually went back and patched that to where you picked up harvested ingredients, whatever it was, iron ore, elf root, any kind of materials that you might use to craft with or make stuff with. They actually, reduced the time it takes, but by a lot. The animation was really quick. Like, you bend down, pick something, and go. And it literally shaved hours off your gameplay over time. You know, if something takes 5 seconds and you shave that down to 2 seconds, but if you do that 1,000 times during the game, that you're shaving 3,000 seconds, for example, and that adds up. So, in this case, you know, if you want to fill water bottles, if you've got 20 water bottles and you want to fill them, I shouldn't have to sit there and just be mashing the square. Now, maybe there is a way to do it, and I just haven't seen it, so I maybe just be talking out my ass, but I haven't personally found it. And so to fill those water bottles one at a time, eventually, over time, considering you have to drink about every 10 minutes, it seems like, in the game, you're going to run through a lot of that stuff. So you can't just drink a quantity of water to get unthirsty. You can't just fill all your bottles at once. You got to do everything one at a time. Eat, drink. And one of those things you drink, even if it's purified water, makes you sick. So you take an antibiotic. So that means you got to navigate somewhere else in your menu to have to drink, because antibiotics make you thirsty, and drink. About the time you're done eating and drinking, now you're tired. So you go to just take a nap because you just want to just save that. Now you're ill. You've got some parasites or insomnia or something, right? And so now you got to take antibiotics. Well, now you're immediately thirsty again. And so you drink. And usually I've noticed it seems like there's a grace period after using antibiotics where you don't get sick for a while. You get something of at least a temporary immunity, so you don't sit there and go through the antibiotic Drinking, which makes you sick again, which makes you take antibiotics, which makes you drink it. That loop, thankfully, I haven't really experienced that. So I think, like I say, there's something of a buffer there, where once you've taken antibiotics, you at least won't get some kind of illness for at least a little bit. But still, all that is that's time. That's minutes taken out of each hour that you could otherwise be playing. I don't recall ever having that issue in Fallout New Vegas. That was never a thing. The balance, the day-night cycle, and the rate at which you became hungry and thirsty, it just seemed right. It felt good in New Vegas. I'm not going to lie. For the things that I thought, or that I wished may have been in New Vegas and weren't, I've got to say that they did the hardcore mode, their version of survival, right in a lot of ways. There was some really cool stuff in there. I would not be mad if they just copy and pasted that whole particular mechanic and just put it in here and just left it at that. I'd be happy with that. In fact, that would add a lot to the game, but for some reason Bethesda is they're devoted, dedicated to not doing the obvious. Is that I don't know. I mean, it's I almost want to sound like a conspiracy theorist here. It's like, we know to do this, so let's just not do that, because that's what the players might want. They're like, huh? We got this great concept, so let's find a way to execute it badly on purpose and make them scratch their heads and wonder why. I'm left feeling like that a lot with this in particular, and it's that line between what the game could be and what it is, and it's sad almost in some ways. Oh, dude, why are you even playing? I like it as it is. Like I say, as an action game, it's fun. And I'm really enjoying these DLCs. I am not going to lie. These DLCs are done well. All that stuff aside, I'm enjoying exploring these environments. It's nice to have a little taste of that back. I enjoyed it with the Automatron DLC. I felt going through those old robotic, warehouses and stuff, the Mechanist's lair and all that. Holy crap, what the hell is that? Oh, that's a tanky son of a bitch. Oh, I see we got the new Reaver. Get out of here. Big old bloated, nasty. At least it's not puking projectile poison acid or something at us. That's nice. I remember the Reavers used to throw radioactive crap balls at you. That shit was nasty. It was effective too. They would sometimes damn near one-shot you with that. So yeah. Anyway, I've really enjoyed personally these new environments here, like this island. We get a moment of daylight here, but there's still that destitute, lonely, post-apocalyptic feel here. Now, if at some point in this DLC there's a way to bring life back to the island, we can repopulate it, so to speak, get these people some of their settlements back, do something about this evil fog, which apparently we're getting a bit of a reprieve right now, right? But for the most part, especially at night, it's very creepy, very Stephen King and all that. If at some point we can fix some of that and see our character actually making a positive change for the island as we work for the good of the people here, that would be a pretty spectacular thing. In fact, we'll just see how this DLC plays out. I wonder if they're not leaning towards something like that. And if that's the case, I would have to pay my compliments and respects to that, because that's pretty cool. I already want to run across one potential settlement. It had a workbench. I just couldn't use it. Not sure exactly why. I'm sure later on it's going to be obvious as to why I can't use that stuff, do any settling right now. I'm guessing having to solve some of the issues that are going on here on the island is what I'm going to have to do, one way or another. Everything seems to be tied in with the Children of Adam and the Fog. Don't know how the synths would play into this. Once again, the synths are probably just trying to be left alone, and they're not being left alone. That's my guess. It's got some crap like that going on. Take that, rotting ghoul. Like I say, even if I'm missing a multiplier to my sneak, yeah, it's 4.4. It's supposed to be about closer to 6. Let's ouch! Not cool. Son of a bitch. Oh, he's one of the nasty ones. Yeah, hold him in place, dog meat. Good boy. Good dog. That's one tanky son of a bitch. But like this right here, this is cool. This, what used to be a really high dollar hotel, luxury hotel at some point, and now it's just destroyed. Once again, I'm going to say this, it shows me what it could have been. You know, and it is what it is. These DLCs. I'm glad they took my money for this. Here, take my bottle caps. I'm glad I got the season pass for the DLCs. I'm honestly not feeling cheated at all. I am perfectly content with the work they did with these DLCs. Absolutely. The environments they created here, and not losing any of the good stuff with the game in the process. That's good stuff. Got a ghoul in here. Got some ammo. Take that. Always take ammo. Anyway, as per usual, just sharing some thoughts to pass some of the time here. I was curious about this hotel. I noticed the vault down there. I'm wondering if there's not some way to get into that vault. Seriously doubt they put it there by accident. They wouldn't tease us with a vault and not allow us to explore it, would they? The vaults here in Fallout 4 seem to be, for the most part, inhabited. Like Vault 81 is still essentially descendants of the original residents, a la Vault 101, that type of thing. There really wasn't much vault action going on in New Vegas. Not any memorable stuff anyway. You had the one with the overgrown plants, and okay, but I don't know, nothing stood out like the vaults did in Fallout 3. Where, you know, you had the one with Gary, and then you had, of course, the one that was main story driven. I think it was 87 with the super mutants and all that stuff. Are those turrets hostile? Doesn't look like it. There's turrets here. I wonder if they're trying to keep people out of gaining access to the vault entrance, huh? That's where my mind's at here. But, in this one, in this Fallout, I've noticed a lack of just those decrepit, sad, horribly destroyed, rusted out, gutted vaults like you found often in Fallout 3. Vault 101 was pretty much pristine. As for the rest of them, they had been infiltrated by the wasteland. You know, some stuff had gotten in there. If it wasn't super mutants, or if it wasn't leftovers from some abominable experiments they were doing there, they were just essentially just void, you know? I don't know, maybe New Vegas had one. They did have the one where the experiments were going on to test, it was the political thing in there. The overseers were only overseer for a time, or something. It was, were they willing to make a sacrifice for the greater good, and none of them actually were. But had they done that, it would have corrected something going on. I forget exactly how the story went or whatever. They did have something in New Vegas. Sure they did. They took actually some of the same ideas that they utilized in Fallout 3. They did a little bit of that in New Vegas. Nothing real memorable though. I mean, nothing beats Gary. Just being creeped out as you turn every corner in that one vault. Gary. I mean, that shit was just classic. looks like vault time to me. Yes, those are vault controls. Yes, those are. Alright, so what should we do? I think what we'll do is we'll go back and report to Cassie and let her know we've avenged her, whoever it is we're avenging, her uncle or whatever. We've killed the ghouls. And then we're going to come back here and explore. I'm going to at least try to get in this vault. If it doesn't go anywhere, then so be it. Whatever. But let me hightail it back to town. Find a quick way out of here, and I'm just going to sprint back to the hole. Call it the hole. I think that's what it's called. Our home base for the time being. The last safe place on the island. Looks like night's about to fall. Start getting some fog back and stuff. Actually, I'm going to just sleep it out. Go ahead and get some rest. Each time I come back here, I'm just going to derad. Get some sleep. Shake the tyrant off. Recharge the batteries so we can go out. This is kind of what it feels like, recharging the batteries. See, I've got all my sneak stuff maxed. It's supposed to be up there, so there is a glitch. Once again, there's a bug, and I'm feeling the effects of it on my character. I managed to do the exact wrong thing that made the glitch happen. You know, one thing I never put into this character was any points into toughness. Ever. Ah, there we go. I need to max out my explosives. Nice. Well, that's going to come in handy. Right, so let's report to her, and then we're going to go take a nap, I think.
Remember, the island's always watching. Be careful out there.
I wiped out the feral ghouls at the campground.
The hero of our saga returns triumphant. I bet the island didn't see that coming. It's only right you get paid for your troubles. Here's 200 caps for you.
I think I deserve more than that.
Well, the real treasure's waiting for you at the end of the story. But we haven't got to that yet. I've been thinking about what's next, and then it came to me. We all love our grandparents, don't we? Kind, gentle, doting, love to spoil you. You'd never want something awful to happen to them. Nobody would. That's why it broke my heart when I lost Grandpa George.
We've all lost someone. You deal with it, and you move on. That's life.
Well, we all haven't lost someone like Grandpa George, I can promise you that. A kinder and braver man has never walked these streets. I still remember the day I heard the news about what happened to him. He had a farm little ways north of here. Lived a peaceful life, working the land and not causing anyone trouble. The island sent something after him. A huge monster, mean as spit and with claws to snap steel beams. A fog crawler. Grandpa bravely stood his ground, a shotgun in his hands, holding off that terror while the farmhands fled back here. If you can take out that shell-backed devil, it'll send a message loud and clear that says the Daltons never forget when they've been wronged.
That fog crawler's gonna pay. For Grandpa George.
That's the spirit.
If the fog doesn't get us, the storm
For Grandpa George. All right. Alright, well, let's go sleep it off. Go fix myself up, and then I will see you guys in the next one. We're going to go explore a vault. That's what we're going to do. Alright, if you want to subscribe, click that button up top. Want to catch the rest of the Fallout 4 playthrough, you can click that image in the middle. It should send you straight to the playlist. Love you guys. Appreciate you hanging out. Catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.